Hi there everybody and welcome back. It's Jackie here from stampingjack.com, and today we are now on our fourth live session of today. So we're right in the thick of our launch party, virtual launch party, to celebrate the launch of our new Stampin' Up! Spring Summer catalogue. So already today we've done a live catalogue walkthrough earlier this morning. We've done some crafting. I'm just going to show you some of the things that we've made. So we did some crafting with our celebration goodies. We did a crafting session with the Field of Tulips bundle. Now we're going to do some crafting with the Slim Sayings stamp set and dies. I love these. These are definitely top of my list, or very near the top of my list of items to get from the new catalogue. So just leave me a comment below when you arrive so I know you're here. If you would share the video, that would be fantastic. I'm just going to share it myself now, so just bear with me one moment. Dum-de-dum. Hi Lynn, hi Kat, hi Jewel, hello again, good to see you all. Hope you've been enjoying the day so far. Wonder how your wish lists are going. Are they getting longer? I'm just looking for the other cards that we made earlier, but I don't know where they are. Where did I put them? Never mind. Well, here they are. So far today, these are the cards that we've made. So these are the cards that we made in the celebration. Let's see if I can see your comments. There they are. So these we made in the celebration session earlier on today. And then, as I say, these are the ones that we made in the flowering tulip session that we did just now. Oh gosh, Jewel, you're stuck home with COVID. Oh dear, that's not good. Well, hopefully we can keep your mind off things and at least hope you enjoy some light crafting. So yes, as I say, we're going to play with the Slim Sayings bundle. So one of the things that I like, well, there's two big things that I like about them, but I'm just going to show you them in the catalogue. So this is it here. So it's page 52. So these are designed, these are a set of dies that are designed to make slimline cards. So they cut out the frame. So the dies have got, I'll show you. So they've got two templates. So you've got the chevrons, and then you've got this like mosaic piece, and then you've got some bits for doing edges and borders. Okay. And then you've got the fantastic stamp set. Now, the dies and the stamps don't need each other in order to function. So the dies don't cut anything out of the stamps. So they can work completely independently of one another. So if you just want the dies, you could go for that. Or if you just want the stamp set, you could go for that. I love, love, love the sentiments in this stamp set. And I've already, in quite a few projects, used. So that's the happy birthday. Here I've used the You Are One of a Kind, so I've cut it up. You can see here I've used the chevron dies and the You Are One of a Kind. And then you can see here I've used a different die for the thanks, but I've used the leftover chevrons to create this card. So I think there's lots and lots of possibilities with this bundle. And as I say, it's kind of I would say it's my favourite of all the bundles in the new catalogue. So just before we get going, just to remind you, if you haven't already done so, make sure to select your numbers for bingo tonight. We haven't had many sign up yet, so just a reminder, you'll find the post if you scroll down a little bit on my Facebook page. You'll find the post calling for bingo numbers. So it looks like this. So all you need to do is you need to comment in the comments. You need to just pick 5 numbers between 1 and 25. Just put them in the comments and that's it, you're in. It's completely free, and we're going to play 3 or 4 rounds of bingo depending on how the time goes. In between we're going to do some crafting, and of course there's prizes as well. So it's always a good night. So I'm hoping to see plenty of you there. So do get your numbers in so that you're ready to go. So let's get going. We've got Kat, we've got Jewel, we've got Lynn. We've got a few more. Okay. Alrighty. So if you're watching this on YouTube, then just give me a thumbs up. If you're watching this on the replay and it's before 8 o'clock on Saturday the 15th of January, then come back at 8 and we'll see you. So as I've been pointing out all the way through on various things, is that don't forget to look at your catalogue for inspiration in terms of looking at your stamp sets or your dies or whatever. It's always the best place to go to first. So let's get going. Let's get straight into it. So for our first card, I'm just going to use the stamp set. And I'm going to do a bit of, I'm just trying to remember what the different projects were. Okay, so we've got a Whisper White card base, and then we've got a layer of Whisper White, and then we've got a strip of Whisper White. Okay, so I'm going to use the You Really Are Fabulous. Okay, and I think for this one, let's see. Let's do, I'm trying to think of a colour scheme. So I'm going to do a bit of sponging. Let's try some what's the best one? Let's try some polished pink. So we're going to use pink, and let's try some Flirty Flamingo. I think that should do it, and then I just need a blending brush. Grab one that's the right colour. Yep, that should work. So what I'm going to start by doing is a bit of stamping. Okay, so I'm going to stamp off. Yep, and try and get them straight. Okay. I think that will do for the moment, and then I'm going to grab my Flirty Flamingo. I'm just going to create some sponging around my images. So this is just using the stamp set, nothing else. Okay. And then I'm going to take my Happy Birthday. I'm going to stamp that in black. So I'll grab my stays on. Actually, no, I'm going to do basic grey instead. Hi Doreen, welcome. Hi Jewel, thanks for your numbers. I shall add you onto the list. Let's get this inked up properly. Yep. go. And then I'm just going to trim the edge of this. Yep, I want it that way. Okay, so I'll pop this up on some dimensionals. But before we do that, I'm going to do a little bit of spritzing. So I've got my basic black Stampin' Right marker, so I'm going to take the brush tip and I'm just going to flick it inside the lid just to create some splatters. There you go. I think we'll do a bit of Wink of Stella on this as well. I think this one might be a bit empty. Let me try another one. Okay. So I'm just going to work my way through and see which one is full. I tend to have lots of half full ones on my desk at any one time. This one looks a bit better, so yeah, there we go. Yep. Okay, and then we can take our happy birthday. Just trim that off. Okay. And I'm just thinking, I'm changing my mind here as I'm making the card, which, you know, I do a fair bit. I'm just thinking I might prefer a grey card base on this one. It might look better. So this is Smoky Slate. Let me know what you think. I'm going to try and get a basic grey one. Sure, I've got one here. There we go. It looks better with the grey background. And then I'm going to grab, we've got our see what, I know what I'm going to add. We've got our new matte dots. There we go, classic matte dots. And we've got some grey ones, so let's use those. Okay, and then I'm also going to add a few regular rhinestones just to increase the sparkle on here. Jules asked, where did I get the covers for my blending brushes? So these are brushes that I got from Amazon quite some time ago. So they came with the covers. So you can do, they're just makeup brushes. So you could do a search on Amazon for them. Hope that helps. So I got those before Stampin' Up! Brought out their own blending brushes. So that's why I don't use the Stampin' Up! Ones, because I've already got some. So I'd rather buy stuff that I haven't already got. Hi Sue, welcome. Good to have you. Hope you're having a good day. And then I'm just going to pop this up. Just grab my dimensionals. So there we go. Really, really simple card, just using the stamps from here. Okay, so that's card number 1. Let's pop that to one side. So then for our next card, okay, I'm going to use these borders here. So we've got a slimline card. So how I do my slimline cards is let me just grab a full sheet of A4 so I can explain how I do it. So what I do is I take a full sheet of A4, because that's roughly 21 centimeters that way. And then to fit these, they need to be 8.5 centimeters across. So then I cut a piece 17 centimeters. So you only need to make one cut in your card. So you just use the width, the short side of your A4 as the long part of your card, and then you just measure across. I make it 17 when I'm using these, but you could make it as wide or as narrow as you want. So if you want your card front to be 10 centimeters wide, then your measurement here needs to be 20 centimeters. So I hope that makes sense, okay? Because these dies don't cut out the card base, they just cut out the frame, or the front of it, so to speak. But you'll see that in one of the next cards. So I've got a basic black base. Then what I've done is I've taken another piece of basic black. So if you imagine, if I'd cut it from this, I've got my card base here, and then I've got this extra. So what I've done is I've taken this piece, okay, and using this die here, I've run it through my Big Shot. Okay, so this is designed to do edges, but this way won't fit through your regular Big Shot or embossing machine. It's too wide, and you couldn't really put it through like that, because it would likely cut through both layers. So what I do is I just create another layer for the top, and what I tend to do is I cut it the same width as the main layer I've got. And then I put this piece through the Big Shot, and then I can trim it on this side depending on how narrow or wide I want it to be. Okay, hope that makes sense. And then here I've got a piece of designer series paper from the Daffodil Daydream paper pack. So this is a free paper pack that you get. This is with Celebration. So it's a Daffodil Afternoon paper pack. So with every £45 you spend, this is one of the gifts that you can choose. So if you were to purchase this bundle, then you would be able to choose this paper to go with it if you wanted. So I'm going to use, I could use the daffodil side. I don't need that bit anymore. I could use the daffodil piece, or I could use the peach piece. So while I'm getting the next bit ready, why don't you decide whether we want the dots or the flowers, okay? So I'm going to do my stamping. So I'm going to use the You Really Are Fabulous stamp again. I'm just going to clean my stamp off. Okay, I'm going to do some heat embossing. Just grab all the bits. So what thoughts have you got on, you've got, who's saying peach side? So you've got flowers, dots, dots. So you've got 2 votes for dots and 1 vote for flowers. So if you want the flowers, speak up now, or we're gonna have the dots. The people have spoken. Right, so I'm using my embossing buddy first of all to get rid of any static, which is very important when we heat embossing. Otherwise, our powder might stick where we don't want it to. Okay, and then I'm just going to stamp this here. That's it. And then we'll put our white, we're going to use white embossing powder on this. Adding a little bit more in because there's a line there, so I just want to make sure that my powder gets all the way in. Okay, that should be fine. And let's just pop that back in here. There we go. Close. Very important. And then we'll just warm our heat tool before we bring it to our card. Got a couple of stray pieces there. So let's see. Is Peach still winning? I think so. Sorry, I'm scrolling on my phone for the comments, so apologies if the image is shaking. There we go. Alrighty. Okay, and then got some ribbon. So I haven't cut an inside on this, but I would obviously cut a white piece to put inside so that we can write on our card. So it looks like we've just, the peach dots have just about won, so let's do that. So I've cut this to be the full front of the card. So I'm going to need to trim this end a little bit because the piece at the back is a little bit wider than the piece at the front. But that doesn't bother me too much right at the moment. So I'm going to grab my black dimensionals now. So I've got some edge bits here. Okay, but before I do that, I'm going to add my ribbon. So I've got this is the open weave ribbon, so this is in pear papaya, so it coordinates with the peach that we've got in our paper. You could also use white ribbon. Oh, try not to cut myself. Oh, that's not long enough. Try again. There, that should be enough. I want to give myself plenty of ribbon to play with for tying my bow. Be careful when you're doing it this way that you don't accidentally pull your cardstock too tight so that it bows. And what I find helpful is if you tie the knot, I'll show you, if you tie the knot like I've done, okay, and then pull it and turn it 90 degrees. Okay, fingers are not working very well, so I'm just going to help myself out here. Normally I don't have a problem with knots, but let's try that again. Let's try it again. I'm a bit butterfingers at the moment. Right, there you go. Here we are. Okay, so now I can primp my bow. Get it how I want it. And then I'll trim it. Okay, and then what I'll want to do is to grab a glue dot. Just want to hold that bow exactly where I want it. So I'm just going to pop that down and then place my bow down on it. Okay, and I'll just hold it nicely for me. There we go. And then on the back we're going to put our dimensionals. So I'm going to use these edge pieces, but they're also good for holding the ribbon in place. So if I put it across the ribbon on each end, it helps to hold it. There we go. So again, because it's quite a big piece, I want to make sure that I've got a fair amount of dimensionals on it. There we go. So that it's held securely and it holds up over the full length of the card. Trim that sticking out a bit. There we go. And there we have our card. Very, very easy. Okay, very simple. Once you get your head around the measurements for a slimline card, I find them really interesting to play with because the dimensions are a bit different. So how you arrange things would be a little bit different to how you would do it if you were doing it on a regular card front. You kind of get used to working in particular dimensions and particular space. So it's nice to just try something a little bit different. So there we go. That's our second card. So let's see. Jewel asked, will bingo be on this page? Yes, Jewel, it will. I'll be going live at 8 p.m. tonight. So what I will do is I will put a post up about 10 or 15 minutes beforehand, just letting everybody know so that you can get in and on time and be ready to go. Okay, not that there's a huge rush, but it's just easier that way. Okie dokie. Right, so next up, so we've used the edge here, but you don't have to, you can use the edge pieces on any card size. You can use it on your regular card size. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the other edge piece. So that first card had the scallopy one, and this one's more of a, what's the word? I don't know, pointy one. So this paper is from, again, it's from the gorgeous Sunshine and Rainbows paper, which is free with Celebration. So it's the same principle. I've got it the same size as my card base. So this is my standard card base, which is half a sheet of A4, just folded in half. Pop that on top. And then I've got my front, which is the same size again. So I'm just going to run this through. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to decide where I want to put this. Okay, so I'm going to stamp "You Are One of a Kind" on here. So I want to make sure I've got plenty of room for that. Okay, or yeah. enjoy, and I'll try something. Yeah, I've got an idea. So I'm going to do it there. So I'm just going to grab a bit of washi tape just to help me out. Okay, so like I said, these dies, you don't have to use them only for slimline cards. You can use them for normal size cards as well. And then it'll just run through my big shot that way. Okay, so just 1 second, I'll do that. Okay, so then you end up, oops, it's all right, I can cover that up. So you've got this piece here, which you could also use, but you've got that lovely stitched edge detail there. Okay, and then we've got, so now how it looks is like so. Okay, so we've got our enjoy, will go there, and we've got our happy birthday. So what I'm going to do is grab a scrap of white. Just have a big strip here. Yep, that'll work. Okay, so we've got enjoy, and we've got our happy birthday. Okay, so I'm going to pick out some of the colours in here. So we've got pool party, flirty flamingo, mango melody. So let's do flirty flamingo and mango melody. Let's try those. Mango melody, and here's my flirty flamingo. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to need a sponge dauber. This works really well on big stamps. Okay, so I'm going to ink up in my lighter colour, which is flirty flamingo. Okay, get plenty on there. Okay, and then I'm going to take my mango melody. And I'm going to create a bit of a ombre effect. So I'm just going to put the mango melody along the bottom. Like so. So then when we stamp it, you get that lovely ombre kind of effect. Okay, I'm going to do the same with my happy birthday. Can you see that? Don't worry about the edge. I've caught the edge on that. I need to trim this. Sometimes you need to trim your rubber stamps. If you keep catching an edge, just trim it a little bit. So I shall do that. Now let's grab my scissors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up our sentiments. Okay. I'm going to grab my mini trimmer. This one. So what I'm doing is I'm lining up the top of my happy birthday with the edge of the cutting guide here. So I know that when I cut it, it will cut really quite closely to the top. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the same on the other side. Okay, like so. going to do is snip my sentiment apart. Okay, we've got that. And then for our enjoy, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to trim it closely. Okay. And then we've got our polished dots, which I think I'm going to use. So let's just do our assembly. So just like before, I'm just going to glue our paper to our card base. Okay, and then this we're going to pop up. So I'm going to grab my dimensional. So pay particular attention pay particular attention to the edges here, okay, particularly the points that stick out, just to make sure that your card holds up nicely and you don't get dips and sags, because it's quite a big piece. Okay. Okay, so then now I have to place these strategically because of my little mishap. Do you know what? I'm actually going to fussy cut my enjoy. Let's hope this works. Okay, let's grab my looking for the appropriate embellishment. Yes, that should do it. I know it's a hexagon, but it should still work. Okay, so we're going to pop these up. Let's grab our minis. No, I've changed my mind. I'm going to use this and I'm going to colour it with a blend. I'm going to take one of the pink ones and just make it a little bit more pink. There you go. Give that a second to dry, and while that's doing that, I'm just going to take a few others. You can see one's landed itself on there anyway, so it can stay. This is a bit slippery because it's still a little bit wet. Get it? There we go. I'm going to be there we go. I didn't leave it for quite long enough to dry. So you've got to be careful when you colour your embellishments with your blends. It works really well, but you've just got to allow a little bit of time for them to dry. Otherwise, the blend kind of comes away. So there we go. That's our third card. So like I said, this one is not just for big cards. You can use it for ordinary ones as well. Alright, so now our final card, okay, is using the other die. So as I said, I've already showed you, I made this card using the chevron die in a Facebook Live a few weeks ago. So what I did was I cut the frame from Melon Mambo, and well, in fact I cut a frame from Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight and Pool Party. And then what I did was, so it creates just a frame like this. Have I got? Yep. So when it cuts out, this is what you end up with. Okay. So then all I did was I took all the pieces and just laid them back in to give me the colour that I wanted. Okay. So I'm going to do something similar for this one. So this is the other die that's in the set, which is it's like a mosaic pattern. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, when I first looked at it, I was like, not sure that it's really my bag. But actually, once I printed it out, it looks an awful lot more delicate than I thought it would be. And actually, I really, really, really like it. Okay, so that's our card base, and then I've got a layer of Whisper White. So what we're going to do on this one is we're going to do some ink blending. Okay, so we're going to use the Flirty Flamingo and the Mango Melody. So let's just grab my blending brushes again. So that's my pink, that's my orange, and I think we'll add a little bit of Coastal Cabana as well. So I'm going to grab a blue. It's green, but it'll do. Okay. So we've got Mango Melody, Flirty Flamingo, and Coastal Cabana. Okay, so that's my orange. So I'm going to start with my Coastal Cabana. Okay, so I'm going to get plenty of ink on here, and we're just going to ink up this whole page. Okay. We want the colours to be reasonably intense. Normally when I'm blending, I want to make sure that I don't get the marks where the brush first hits the page with all the extra ink on it, but we're going to cover this up, so it's not quite so important. It's more important to get a good bit of colour down. Okay, so that's our blue. Now let's do our Mango Melody. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in our Flirty Flamingo. I do love this colour combination when I'm doing blending, because the three colours work together really, really well, and it's very easy to blend them into one another too. So sometimes when you mix colours, they go a bit muddy and they don't complement each other. They look fine next to one another, but when you start layering ink on top, it just doesn't quite work. Okay, and then I'm going to come back in with my Coastal Cabana. There you go. Okay, so that by itself is a really nice background for any card. So that's something you can do on any card really, and to be honest, I could just stamp a happy birthday across the middle of that in black and it would look pretty good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer this on top like so, and then that's going to go onto our card. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this first of all, so making sure that the two edges, the two corners line up. Okay, and then taking my bone folder, you could score it as well if you wanted to. There we go. Okay, and then we're just going to glue this down. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to take my Wink of Stella. I'm going to add some glitter to this, because I do want it to have a little bit of glimmer. Now I'm going to be careful when I glue this down to my card base. I'm going to leave that for 1 second and do my stamping. Okay, so pop that to one side and then grab, I did have a scrap of black, this is it. Okay, and we're just going to use that happy birthday again, and we're going to do some heat embossing again. So let's grab my bits, which are here. Okay, and then ink this up with Versamark. Stamp it down. I'm going to trim this, so I'm going to stamp it near the bottom of this strip. So again, this is a strip that's left over from when I trimmed my cardstock down. Got a little bit there on there. Can you see my A? Not great. So I'm not happy with that, so I'm just going to stamp it again. Just check my stamp. It's clean. Yep. Same again. I think I might have, but let's see. I think I just moved my stamp just as I was picking it up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take my brush, get rid of all of that. Okay, and turn it over. And let's see if I can stamp properly this time. Okay, bear with me. Don't know if you can see this. Okay, that looks better. There we go. That worked better. We got there in the end. Okay, and then just alright, so we'll just trim this down. Alright, so now we should be ready to start assembling. So we're going to glue this onto our card base. And then for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black mini dimensionals, and in each one of these bits here, I'm going to I could just stick it down using glue, but I thought we'll do it this way, we'll get a bit more interest, I think anyway. And of course, by using the black dimensionals, you won't notice it on the card, whereas if I was to use white, it would be quite noticeable. Okay. Now when you're taking this die out after cutting it, you do have to be quite careful because there's so much open space on it. It is quite delicate. So you do have to be a bit careful with it. Well, you've got to be quite careful with it, otherwise it'll be very easy. Oh, I've got 2 on there. I only want 1. Trim that in a second. Yeah, otherwise it very easily just tear it if you're not careful. You can see they easily cross over like that. So that's what I mean when I say you've just got to be a little bit careful with it. Oop. Now I can see just here I've managed to get 2 dimensionals on there when I only want 1. So I'm just going to trim off the bit that's sticking out. There we go. And then just lay this down on our card front. There we go. And then on the back of our happy birthday, you see, so I'm going to put the happy birthday here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put dimensionals in here. And then lay my sentiment down. So there we go. There we have it. So now it's that time. So I'm going to make some space. It's time for you to choose what your favourites are from this combination. Like I said, you can get just the dies or just the stamps. They work completely independently of one another, even though they complement each other. But it's definitely worth. This is one of my top picks. So you got card number 1, card number 2. I don't know if you can see that. Card number 3, card number 3, or card number 4. So let me know which one is your favourite. 1, 2, 3, or 4. So as I said, don't forget bingo is tonight at 8 o'clock. Make sure to leave me your numbers. I'm going to go have a spot of dinner, a bite to eat. And I look forward to seeing you all later on at 8 and to seeing what your votes are in terms of your favourites for this one. I think we've got quite a bit of lag at the moment, so I'll pick it up in the comments afterwards. Thanks very much for watching and see you all in a little while. Bye.